Alright, so I've always really liked this document, so again, I'm going to post all this stuff as well. The 10 tips to make a bad research question. So some of the stuff I'm going to highlight, some of the stuff I'm just going to kind of gloss over, because we've tackled it already, right? 1, if you want to do a bad research question, pick a trivial, boring topic. We talked about the so what aspect, right? Pick a topic that you do not know. I know this is research and I know you're trying to learn something, but you do want to try and come from a place where you have some initial background information and reference point. You don't want to say, like, look up a random word in the dictionary and then know nothing about it and then be like, I'm going to research this. Because then you have a lot more work ahead of you in terms of coming up with a research question, doing the research. You have to learn so much more, and it's gonna make your research question tough because as you're learning so much, it's gonna really broaden out the research question. So try and pick something that you at least have a bit of familiarity with. All right? 3. Answer a question that everybody knows. Do people need water? Yes. Does Coca-Cola taste delicious? Yes. Is it bad for your liver? Yes. Answer a question that nobody can answer. You're doing research, right? So you need to be able to find research. We don't have the time in which to go to our own laboratories or go into the world and do our own sociological research. So we need to rely on the research of others. So that stuff needs to be there. A private issue, focusing on stuff that really only matters to you or to the individual, like why do boys like blue? Well, some boys like blue, boys don't like blue. It's a very private, personal issue. We avoid that. We avoid studies in other disciplines, right? We're focusing on what we're focusing on. We don't want to be too broad. We talked about that. Too broad means you're going to do too much research. Too broad means you're not going to be able to start writing. Have a wide topic, have a wide time span. The same thing is too broad. You don't want to be focusing on global pandemics for the last 100 years. That's a lot of time, a lot of stuff to cover over, right? Have a vague question. You want your question to be clear. You want your question to have the who, the what's happening. You want your question to make it obvious what the paper is going to be about. And then lastly, challenge what you cannot control. You don't want to make a research question that is difficult to manage. How do we stop the rain? Stopping the rain might be out of our control, so we want to avoid stuff like that, right? So things we should avoid. The article also goes into how to find interesting and significant problems, which is a lot of what we've been covering already. So if you need more information, you have it there. Just want to look at one more thing before I say goodbye for today. I will post this link, right? Research question examples, good and bad. So we have this one. What effects does social media have on people's minds? It's not a bad start, but it's a bad finish. It's a bad finish because people's minds is a bit vague. You know that an 8-year-old has a slightly different brain than a 16-year-old. And that 16-year-old has a slightly different brain than, let's say, a 34-year-old. So you'd really want to focus on a type of age group. You also might want to focus on a specific site, or you may also want to focus on a specific issue, right? We talked about what's the problem. What effect does social media have? It's a bit broad, but if we look at how they fixed it up, what effects does daily Twitter use have on the attention span of a 16-year-old? So for this research, I'm focusing on Twitter. For this research, I'm only focusing on attention span. For this paper, I'm only focusing on kids, adolescents, 16 and younger. So again, it's a good start, but it's a bad way to finish because it's not nearly specific enough. Why is there a housing crisis in the Netherlands? Again, a good place to start, a really crummy place to end up. Why is it a crummy place to end up? Because there's just too much to talk about. we have how it's fixed. What impact have university internationalization policies had on the availability and affordability of housing in the Netherlands? Right? So we have what the problem is, we have who's being affected, and we even have the so what of why a person, especially a person in the Netherlands, might care about this. Again, having a research question is so vitally important for your research. You're not just going to be able to pick it out of a hat. Developing a research question takes time, it takes thought, it takes energy. And if you're not willing to put in that energy, you're either never going to have a research question or you're going to have a very weak research question. A weak research question is going to lead to incomplete research, incomplete writing, weak, bad writing, objectively, not subjectively, objectively, because you're not going to know what to say, you're not going to go to research, you'll end up repeating yourself quite a bit. So, if you haven't already spent the time necessary in which to develop your research question, I would really recommend that you go and do that. Finish up Journal 3 before you finish up Journal 4 this week, because Journal 4 is not going to be possible until you've done Journal 3. And really, Journal 3 is not possible until you've done Journal 2. And Journal 2 is not possible until you've done Journal 1, and so on and so forth. So, hope this video is helpful. If you have any more questions, please send me an email, and I will, or send me an email, and we can set up some time to talk, or if it's quick, we can answer it through email. All right, everybody, thank you.